Hi there. In this video, we're going to talk about rates and how they can involve units of measurement. And so we'll be able to better understand how to get a better deal at the grocery store and how to solve problems involving units. So let's take a look. All right, a rate is a ratio or a fraction of two quantities. So you'll just take one quantity and divide by the other one. And a unit rate is a rate with a denominator of 1. So we'll be making use of this from time to time. So let's take a look at the first problem here. The first problem says you can bike 10 miles in 1.5 hours. At what rate did you bike? So when we measure the rate of movement, we measure it in distance over time. So we're going to be looking at miles divided by hours. And so we'd usually read that final answer as miles per hour. And per just means divide by. All right, so that's what we have to do. The rate is just the fraction of this distance divided by this time, so 10 divided by 1.5. Now, instead of just writing the numbers here, I'm going to keep track of the units. So I'm going to write miles here and hours here. And it'll be useful to do that in problems going forward, because keeping track of these units is important to make sure that we did things correctly in the final answer. Now, when I divide 10 by 1.5, I get 6.66 repeating. So because it repeats, the next number is going to be a 6, which means if I'm going to round this to 2 decimal places, and let's go ahead and do that, I would round this up to a 7. So 6.67. And what are the units? Miles over hours. So miles divided by hours. Sometimes you'd see people write this as follows: 6.67 mph stands for miles per hour. So that's another way to write down the rate, but that's the rate at which we biked. Okay, so now that we've biked over to the grocery store, we're going to buy some grapes. All right, and the price is as follows. They're selling grapes at 2 pounds for $5. Okay, so what is the price of grapes in dollars per pound? What is the rate at which grapes are being sold here? Well, look at this. Dollars per pound. We know that this means dollars divided by pounds. So by looking at the units here, I see what to divide by what. I'm going to take the dollars and divide by the pounds. So what is the price in dollars per pound? It's going to be $5. And I like to write my dollars when I'm working these problems as units after the number, because that's where all the other units go. And we're going to divide by pounds. All right, well, 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. And that is in dollars per pound. If you insist on writing the dollar sign to the left of the number, you would write it like this. Now, there's a second part to this question. It says, how much would 3 pounds of grapes cost? Okay, well, now we can compute this because we know how much they cost per pound. So to get the answer here, we would multiply this times the 3 pounds. So I'm going to take this guy here because I like this notation better. Going to multiply this by 3 pounds. Okay, well, what's 2.5 times 3? Well, it's 7.5. Now let's take a look at the units. Notice I'm dividing by pounds here, but I'm multiplying by pounds here. So they cancel. And what's left over? Dollars. So I get $7.5. Or if you want to write the dollar sign on the left, like most people do, you could write it like this. So that's how much 3 pounds of grapes will cost. All right, let's go to the next part of the problem. What is the price of grapes in pounds per dollar? Okay, well, now we're doing pounds per dollar, so we're going to take pounds and divide by dollars. So I'm going to take 2 pounds and divide by $5. And what do we get when we do that? We get 0.40. And what are the units of measurement? Well, I have pounds in the numerator and dollars in the denominator. And now you would not want to put this dollar sign over here, right? Because it's not in the numerator. So I would think this is really just the best way to write it. Okay, let's look at the second part of the problem. How many pounds of grapes can you purchase with $8? Well, if they're going at 0.4 pounds per dollar, and I want to find out how much I can purchase with $8, I'll multiply this by 8. $8 to be exact. And notice that what I get here is 3.2. Let's go to 3.20. Notice that the dollars cancel because one of the dollars is in the denominator, the other one's in the numerator. So those cancel off, and I'm left with pounds. And there's my answer for the second part of part B. Now, I just want to stress the importance of doing this, right? This is a really great way to make sure you did things right. The fact that I'm left with dollars in the end for part A makes sense because we were asked how much would these cost. So if things canceled out and I was left with pounds, well, I know I did something wrong. And the same thing in part B. If I had ended up with dollars in my final answer, I know I had done it wrong because we were asked to find how many pounds. So keeping track of the units is a really, really handy way to check your work. All right, now we're going to buy some avocados while we're at the store. And it says here that avocados are selling for 3 for $6.50 at store A. And I guess there's another store where they're selling 2 for $4.50. Which store has the better price? Well, what we can do to answer this question is compute the rate. So let's look at the dollars per avocado. Whichever store has the lowest dollars per avocado is the store we want to buy from, right? So let's see. Store A, what is the dollars per avocado here? Well, I take this price and divide by the number of avocados. So for store A, we see that we're going at $6.50 for 3 avocados. I'll just use the letter A here. It's 2.166666, repeating, right? So since there's a 6 after the next 6, I'll round that up to 2.17. This is approximate. I did round here, so I'll use an approximately equal. And it's dollars per avocado. Now let's check out store B. At store B, I've got $4.50, $4.50, and that's for 2 avocados. What do I get there? Well, I get $2.25 per avocado. So at store A, each avocado costs $2.17, and at store B, it's $2.25. So we can see that store A is the better price. Now, there's another way to do this. We could have, instead of looking at dollars per avocado, we could have looked at avocados per dollar. Okay, so let's look at it that way. So at store A, avocados per dollar. Well, I'm going to take 3 and divide by 650. And I get 0.4615. That rounds up to 0.46. Let's just leave it at 0.46. And this is avocados per dollar. At store B, we are buying 2 avocados for $4.50. Well, that is 0.444444. All right, since it's a 4 after these 2 digits, I don't round up, right? Because it's a number less than 5 next. So this is 0.44 avocados per dollar. So by looking at this, what can we say? Well, look at this. At store A, we're getting slightly more avocados per dollar than we are at store B. By just a little bit, getting 0.02 more of an avocado here at store A. So store A is a slightly better price. So again, we see the same conclusion. Here we're looking for the lower number because we want to spend the less dollars. Here we're looking for the higher number because we want more avocado per dollar. But either way you look at it, you can get the answer.